Please like, subscribe, and share. Your likes and shares can help us take Athenium and Northeast to the world. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay connected on Facebook for regular content.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode at Athenium. And today we are joined by the co-founder and chief operating officers of 3PALS Smart Solutions. The 3PALS Smart Solution has been awarded with the Octane Award by Software Technology Parks of India, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India in 2021. We have with us Dr. Tanveera Ismail, Senior Assistant Professor, Department of Electronics and Communication, Don Bosco University, Assam, who is also a passionate entrepreneur, academician, and writer. We are also joined by Dr. Shubhra Mukherjee, who holds a PhD in optical sensor systems for precision agriculture applications, who is also a trainer, educator, writer, mind mapper, YouTuber, and blogger, donning multiple hats. And we're also joined by Mr. Mriganko Gogoi, Assistant Professor, Department of Electronics and Communication, Don Bosco University, Assam, an entrepreneur and a consultant. Welcome all the three of you and congratulations on the award.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
At the very onset, I think for Northeast, something like this is relatively new. The venture that you have started is relatively new from what we know. So at the beginning, we would like to understand what this venture is and specifically in the context of the region.
Okay, so I think I'll take that question. 3PALS Smart Solutions started off when the three of us, the three friends, dreamt of having a venture that could also help the society apart from working, So firstly, we observed and realized that the agriculture sector could advance a lot more if we brought in technological advancements. And that is where we started thinking, why not bring up our expertise and technological expertise in the agriculture sector too. And that's where our product, Krishantric, came into being, that has won the competition that you just spoke about. But 3PALS Smart Solutions is beyond Krishantric. We go beyond that. The three of us have more than a decade of experience, academic experience, each one of us. And over the years, we've met a number of students and even people outside our classroom who we've observed and noticed that in spite of having knowledge, something pulls them back. They lag in something which brings their confidence down, be it stage fright or their difficulty in speaking in front of a number of people and so on. Whatever it is, but issues are confidence related. And over the years, we've mentored a number of people because three of us have been teaching in the UG and PG sectors of engineering related students, but we have gone beyond the technicalities of the engineering education and mentored these students. And we wanted to bring in our expertise to people beyond our classroom students also. And that is why 3PALS Academy came into being. And so we at present, we have two courses on public speaking and effective behavioral skills. And very soon we'll be taking up more students as fresh batches. And lastly, however, as consultants with expertise in research, academic writing, DPR writing, and so on, we provide consultancy services also. So in short, if I have to sum up, 3PALS Smart Solutions is about Krishantric, about 3PALS Academy, and providing consultancy services. Yeah.
So then I think you've thrown open some very different verticals. So let's just have a brief idea first of what Krishantric, because that has also won the award. And I'm sure a lot of people who may also want to venture in a similar line of work, because from what I understand, it is about technology merging with agriculture and how we can better the process using technology. So if you can tell us a little bit on that, that is one. And in that line, if there are people who want to explore these domains, because in terms of knowledge about applying for these awards or the funding, which can benefit the region, because we always say that there is no funding for a lot of things in the region. but then there you are, where you have actually
Yeah.
managed to get some fund, right? So you tell us a little bit about Krishankik, and if for
Yes.
those people who want to also explore that domain.
Yeah, Priyashi, first of all, thank you so much for inviting us in this beautiful platform. So let me give you a brief idea about Krishandrik. And before that, as Tanvira mentioned about how we got motivated, let me specifically mention about the motivation part. So when we talk about agriculture, nowadays, you know, the standard of farmers. So it is, if you talk about India or particularly Northeast India, the standards are very low for the farmers. So in that direction, we also thought how we can uplift the standard of the farmers. And moreover, nowadays the youngsters are not getting attracted towards farming. So if technology can be brought into this agriculture, or you know, technology amalgamated with agriculture, so the youngsters are going to get attracted towards it. And when youngsters are brought into any domain, and that domain is definitely going to prosper. So this is what motivated us for working in this particular field, or bringing technology into an agriculture. Now talking about Krishantric, what exactly Krishantric is? So Krishantric is a UAV, or unmanned aerial vehicle system, which comprises of many sensor systems. So like, as you know, a human being, when he is looking a particular area and he is going to cultivate it, first of all, he will look into the land. Okay, whether that land is of having the proper quality to grow a particular crop, or that land is having proper nutrients or not. Then he will, once the crop is grown there, monitor the quality of the crop, and then finally look into the harvesting part, or whether the crop has become matured or not. So these things are incorporated from a technical perspective in Krishantric. So Krishantric comprises of these sensor systems. First of all, it will be comprising of soil sensors. Now, these soil sensors, in fact, we have spent some 3 to 4 years learning about the quality of the soils, the nutrients contents of the soil, how to improve the quality of the soils. So this soil sensoring part, Dr. Subra Mukherjee will give a better details about that, because she has specifically invested from 3 to 4 years in this particular directions. Now, talking about the other part, that is the crop monitoring system. So what happens is, now once we get the data from the soil, so we have to study about this. So we are creating a database which comprises of different contents of the soil, or different parameters of the soil, and we are going to study about it. In fact, we have already started the process. And how we are going to study? We are using some machine learning and artificial intelligence algorithms to study the quality of the soil, or how we can improve the quality of the soil. Okay, once we are done with that, so we advise the farmers that what kind of crops you can grow. Or if it was, if a farmer approach us that this is the crop we are going to grow there, so whether that soil contains the particular nutrients or not. So that we are going to study, and accordingly proper fertilizers will be given to that particular soil. Okay, now once the soil part is done, so once the crops are grown, so we have to monitor the crops. Now, how we are going to monitor the crops? So there will be again specific sensors. Okay, so we have this UAV, or unmanned aerial vehicle, okay, which is having these sensor systems, and there will be sensors also in the field. So these there will be transmitter receiver, where from the soil you are getting some information about the quality of the crops. Okay, so again there will be some machine learning artificial intelligence algorithm to understand the quality of the plants. Okay, whether these we are going to study about the diseases, what are the different types of diseases that may occur in the crops, so how to overcome those diseases. So there, after studying about the diseases, so we are going to advise the farmers that these are the pesticides, if you give to these plants, then the plant will overcome those diseases. Okay, so that then next comes the spreading of, or providing this pesticides. So this UAV will be fit with a tank as well, a fertilizer or pesticides tanks, where with the help of some remote operation, we can deliver the pesticides and fertilizers. So this is whole about our system. So I will show you one. This is a drone. Actually, we have assembled this drone, and we are working here. So here we are going to assemble our whole system. Okay, system, and with those system we are going to perform some remote operations. So this is about our Christiantric. Now, how we got this funding from STPI? Now, what exactly is STPI? So STPI, as already you have mentioned initially, that it is a software technological park of India. There are many software technological park of India in different cities, and STPI Guwahati is one of the park which is in Guwahati, established in Guwahati, and this is under Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. So they have organized this event called Octane with the objective of supporting, incubation space, direct funding support, marketing support, etc., etc. So they have conducted these events, and they have first of all asked for the applicants to submit a report on the idea. So we have done that. Once that idea was submitted, they will select a couple of people who have given a good idea or which are marketable. So we got selected into that, and there was the next phase, again, presentation. So we have given a presentation on our idea. Then there was the final presentation. So we have tracked all these parts, and then finally we got selected to get incubated under them. So this is our journey so far. We are working on our product, and with a vision of setting a manufacturing unit for drone. So this is one of our dreams. So that is all about what I have to say.
I would like to add one more thing. Mriganko, you have beautifully explained everything. Priyashi, if you allow, to the motivation part.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, Mriganko has so beautifully explained how it all went about. But I would like to take you back to the journey around 5 years or 4 years back. That is looking like maybe that funding was so easy, or something that we have cracked all the steps, and it was really a big achievement for three of us. But the amount of hard work it required, it dates back to some 4 to 5 years back. And somewhere down the line, in spite of being from diverse fields, completely from different fields of expertise, in spite of that, we had one common motive, that we somewhere down the line, we wanted to do something for the region in terms of entrepreneurship. We were also wanting to bring up a product in the market which will not just benefit us, but it will also make a difference in the lives of the people here. That was one objective. But even before applying for this, we were most of the people, why they fail, I believe, or why we also did not succeed in our previous attempts, maybe, was because of the amount of exercise that is required, or what we can say, the amount of homework that is required. I have spent around 3 to 4 years just in researching about soil, the various types of soil, and I was fascinated by the fact that even today there are people who are not aware of that each and every plant have different requirement of fertilizers. Just like human body, if we take too much of vitamins, we might be deficient in the beginning, but if we take too much of vitamins, that will lead to other diseases. So similarly for soil also, there are certain requirements. A tea plant will require different kind of fertilizer, different amount of fertilizer maybe, whereas a simple tomato or a potato will require different type of amount of fertilizer. So that accurate application of fertilizer in the soil, till date, if you see, it's on the research phase in India now. There are companies coming up all over India, but outside it was already there. But in India, that awareness is also missing. So Mriganko is also doing, Mr. Mriganko Gogoi is also working on that awareness part, that people should know that we just cannot apply any amount of fertilizer to the field in a random manner. That affects the crop and the production. So all that work, that research, I have also published a number of papers in this, which gives us a validation that whatever work we are doing in this field is validated, research based. So all that homework was already done from the part of research and validation phase. And then slowly we came to know that only R&D will not work. We need a person with a marketing bend of mind. We need a person who will actually go onto the field, who has seen the field and the farmers. So that's where we three came together. Tanvira is excellent with marketing and all those kind of stuff. She knows in and out. Mriganko has worked in the field. He knows about farmers. He has closely worked with the farmers. He knows everything about crops and whatever is generally people in cities, they are not aware of all those kind of things, but Mriganko has that thing. So that forte he has. So all these three things together, when we brought together, Tanvira with her own expertise, me with my R&D expertise, and then Mriganko is very much fascinated about drones and all. So when we three came together a few years back and we said that we have to put up this. So that part of the exercise was done. And then when we went forward and applied, then clearing the steps was not that difficult. Yes, as new entrepreneurs, we were nervous. We were looking forward that we really get funds, and we were also somewhere there was a mindset that for getting fund is really difficult. That, as you mentioned, that people do feel that getting fund is very difficult. So that mindset also was there. That what if we don't get, because people say it's difficult. But then with all that, we had one aim, that we have to become entrepreneurs and set up ourselves in this region. So with that aim and vision, we went forward, we applied for this, and by God's grace, we got this. Yeah, so that was a motivation and how we came here.
Right. So so the next question that comes to my mind is, because you've mentioned that you're doing a lot of testing and there are application areas, and then the eventual plan is to possibly even set up a factory. So which are your application areas? Is it limited to Assam right now, or you're also looking at the other parts of the region? If you can elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Yeah,
Yeah, Tanvira,
Mriganko,
go
I
ahead.
think
Yeah.
you should.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Mriganko, it's okay. You can.
Yeah, regarding the application area, actually, this when we were studying about soil sensing, when Dr. Subra Mukherjee was working with the soil sensing part, so that time we have applied in a small area wherein we were doing strawberry cultivation. So we studied about the quality of the soil, the nutrient contents of the soil. That is from the application point of view when we were doing some research area. Now, regarding the product that we are going to develop, so that is still in our R&D phase, and we have already started collaborating with some of the people who are willing to work in this dimension or bringing technology into farming. So that is how we are at this stage. But in future, very soon, we are going to use this Krishyantrik or this product in the field where it is going to find out the different plant diseases, whether this type of crops are favorable for a particular area. And similarly, it is also going to deliver the pesticides, fertilizers automatically or with manual operations. So I think Tanvira will explain more details about this. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the thing is, Piashi, what we are working on, one has to first know that there is a problem of using excessive pesticides and fertilizers. That farmers, although we are very much as a society dependent on them, and we look forward to the hard work and absolutely understand the hard work that they put in, but a bit of educating and a bit of awareness is also required in that field. So that is one point of working at the grassroots level, and a lot of awareness camps have already been done by our associate Julie Gogoi. Okay, so she's associated with Tripal Smart Solutions. So we've, along with her, done quite a bit of such awareness camps. But that is one section. Other section is any kind of agricultural enthusiasts. There are a lot many people in urban areas also who have dearth of space but want their terrace gardens and balcony gardens, and yet do not know how to start off, or how much water they need, and all those things. So that is another section. And the third section we've realized, because we are all researchers and Shubhra has worked extensively in agricultural in this particular field, we've realized that there are dearth of databases as mentioned. And that is something very much required by researchers. But what happens is when we start off at the grassroots level and all these levels, we start having a lot of databases on its own. So research with these database to go ahead with the other research that they want to do and not just be stuck up with just making up the database. So that is a major help that they will be getting through Krishi Yantrik. So 3 portions actually. And as far as the region is concerned, of course, since we are based out of Assam, so we start off with Assam, but no, in the far future, we do not plan to just be in Assam, but of course help our sisters and brothers all over the region. So all the northeastern region, we do want to stretch over with our, we don't want to restrict the knowledge that we have gained and the product that we have made to Assam itself. So we want to further go ahead to other regions. But that is in the future, yeah.
So about this database, because I think a lot of people would want to know how to get access. So you have to tell us how, the database that you're building, or how does that knowledge sharing happen? Now that is an information that we would like to get out, so that whoever wants to reach out for the information and then maybe consult you all to expand this kind of an idea further, you have to tell us where should they get in touch and where to find these databases.
Yeah, maybe I will take up this question. So regarding the database, first of all, we are going to get the data from the field with the help of sensors. Then we are going to gather this data in a server, or in a computer system which is having a huge amount of memory. So that will be associated with us, or kind of a copyright data available to us, which will not be accessible easily, or it will not be available to the public. So once someone requests us for research, or maybe they want to buy the data, so in that case we are going to share with them. So obviously there will be some technical link, or there will be some ways how to get this data, but they have to approach us, or they can mail us through our we have a website called www.3pals.com. so there we have a mail ID, they can find that and then mail us. So once we are ready with the data, so that will be available to them on request.
Right. Now, another factor that came up in our conversation is that, there is lack of awareness, not only in the domain of agriculture, but even youngsters, because I think you all mentioned that youngsters need to step in for agriculture and technology and all these spaces to merge together. So what is your vision, or what is your suggestion in that direction? Because of course, one, awareness you're doing at the ground level in the context of the farmers and the agricultural professionals. But in terms of the youngsters, what is your vision that how do they enter into this field? Because people, the ones who are in technology, they think that technology cannot be correlated to grassroots work. That kind of a mindset is also there. And a lot of people think that agriculture is done by the oldies. And so a lot of youngsters have that idea, so they don't want to venture into that. How do you sort of bridge that gap?
So yeah, regarding the attracting the youngsters, as Tanvira, Dr. Tanvira Ismail mentioned about Julie Gogoi. Okay, she is actually my sister, and 5 years back, after completing her MSc in biotechnology, then we were like in a chit chat mood, and then I suddenly told her, why don't you get involved in organic farming? So that way she started her journey in farming, and right now she has been acknowledged by many organizations from the government sector, from KVKs, and she is very much popular in the area where she is residing, and people are calling her or approaching her for help in farming. She is giving training for mushroom cultivations as well as other farmings. What she found is that many youngsters in the training, okay, they are approaching her for farming. Then one day while discussing about all these, I suddenly thought of this idea that how can nowadays the students they are completely moving away from nature. So if at the school level there are some approach made so that the students come to the field and learn farming and know about farming. Today if you ask a student how a carrot is grown, he may know how to eat a carrot, but how it is grown he is not aware of. So if that environment is given even at a school level, so it will be a huge way of attracting the youngsters. And when we were searching in the internet whether this kind of platform is available for the students or not, even one of the schools in Nalbari district of Assam, they have already started this course as a mandatory course to work in the field, giving some time for the students to go to the field and find out how this cultivation is made. And that way, a relationship will build up with the farmers, a one generation of farmers interacting with the another generations, or passing their information to the another generations, and these students are going to get attracted towards farming. And moreover, nowadays there are in the tourism sector also this thing has come up. That means integration farming. People are bringing their child, bringing the kids and residing there and exploring how exactly the farming is done. So this way, I think many youngsters will get attracted towards farming. And moreover, as I mentioned, the technology is a bridge to bring this agriculture and connecting the youngsters. So technology is going to play a huge role. And in fact, if you search in the internet, there will be many youngsters, many startups coming up with technology to improve the farming sector.
Next
Absolutely.
question to
I
you is,
completely, yeah,
go ahead.
completely. I agree with what Mriganko said, that strangely, I'll share an incident with you. A few years back, I remember a kid asking me that how does groundnut grow, and his parents answered that it grows on trees. And it was around 4 to 5 years back while I was on my research, and I was astonished by the fact that a parents was giving this kind of misinformation to the kid that groundnuts actually grow on trees. And I was thinking, this is the situation of our country, where we are moving away so much from the nature that we even don't know the basic things, that we are, just as Mriganko said, we eat carrots but we don't know how it grows. And answering a kid that a groundnut grows on trees was one of the funniest thing I could have heard that day. So that was like also a call, like maybe a divine call. It was like a divine call that, okay, what happened, let's focus onto this. So I would like to completely agree with Mriganko that we as educated individuals, we as the privileged class, we have a duty to raise this awareness in each and every possible way. If we are teachers or educators, we can tell the students at school level, at our homes, everywhere. We have to make this duty that we have to connect, or we have to use technology as a bridge to connect the younger generations with the nature, and they should know, they should come forward, so that it's not just about a startup or anything, but yes, we are connected to the nature, we know what is going on, and it's not like, okay, just the food is in our plate and we are consuming it, how it comes and where it goes, I have no idea. That kind of situation should not arise. And once that kind of awareness is created right from the school level to graduation everywhere, or even in our families, I think the day is not far that agriculture will not be something of just oldies, as you mentioned. It will be like everybody will be agriculture enthusiasts, and I really look forward to that kind of a day in future.
Surprisingly, I would like to mention here, one day I was having a discussion with my father. Like, my parents are very much involved with what we do in the 3PAL Smart Solutions, and like excited as parents. So he was telling me that in the school level, they actually had farming. They had a portion of area where they had to do farming. And he's also he's a professor, so he's also into academics and never really done farming, but always knew what is farming, how to farm, and all of that. And we have a kitchen garden and all of that. So somewhere in between, I think we lost track, and it is time to get back to what Mriganko and Shubhra has said. So in our country, it was there in those days. Somewhere we stopped doing it, and today it's important to get back to what we were doing earlier, as Mriganko and Shubhra said. And the tourism part, I would also like to add on to what Mriganko said. A few years back, I think around 2 or 3 years back, my husband and I had been to Bali, and a similar village, in Bali was there only for the tourism of the plantation and all of that they had done. So we as Indians were like, this is available in our country. Only thing, we do not market it in that way. But they have marketed a village just to show people coming from all over the world as to how to farm, okay, or what they have farmed, or to live with them and become volunteers to farm. So that is, and small kids coming with their parents and learning those things. So these are certain things we can take back. It is not that it is not in our country, but it just needs a proper marketing maybe to bring in that tourism. So yeah.
So then the question is, because one thing I take away from here is there's a lot of hope and a lot of encouragement for the youngsters and people to join in this particular perspective of technology and agriculture, and then putting things back. And like Tanvira mentioned, we lost track in between, so putting things back on track. My question is, staying within the region, what are the challenges that you see, or what are the challenges that you have faced that sort of hinders this process or needs mitigation?
Well,
I think Mriganko, you can answer that.
Yeah, in this regard, what I would like to mention is, first of all, regarding if I specifically mention about Krishyandrik, regarding when we are in the development stage, getting the proper products, or kind of especially if I say sensor systems. Now, getting the sensor system is not that easy. So you have, first of all, once we decide that these are the sensors we want, then getting those sensors requires a huge time. So especially if you stay in metropolitan city like Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, so if you want a sensor, it will be easily available there. But though there are online system nowadays, but it is taking a huge time to get those products or those sensors. Now that is from the developing a particular product perspective. Now again, next is obviously the cost will comparatively increase when you buy from a market, or when you are going to buy from an online platform, when the number of products are less, so that time the cost also increases. So these are some of the challenges with respect to the product development. Now challenges with the applicability. Now when we see the amount of people involved in farming, now compared to states like Punjab, Chandigarh, or say Andhra Pradesh, here less number of people are involved in farming, and also the farmers are not having huge lands. So when they are going to incorporate this technology, because this is going to cost some money and it is not a small amount. So when people are doing some small cultivation in a small area, they are not going to procure this technology, because if the production cost is some amount and the technology cost is going beyond that, so obviously no one is going to go for that kind of technology. So that is a challenge for us, that we have to look into that perspective, how we can make the product at a lesser cost. We are working on that. Next point is, if nowadays the government of India is also encouraging the youths to come together when they are going to do farming in a small area. Rather than that, if they do in a group and combine a larger area, so that time the production cost will less, and it is going to benefit these people. So in that situation, our technology is going to give a major boost to the production. Okay, so these are some of the challenges which I feel are presently persistent, but yeah, with some innovative ideas, definitely we are going to overcome this. And this is our mission and vision, to bring this product at a lesser cost to the farmers.
So by when are we, what is your target to launch this product? What are we looking at?
The speed at which we are moving at right now. So probably by end of this year, we'll be ready with our product, the Krishyandrik product. And also, as we mentioned about Three Pals Academy, that is also
Yes.
another dimension which we will be starting the fresh batch very soon, maybe by next month also. But regarding Christiandric, by the end of this year, we are coming with this product.
Right. And
As
regarding
far as the consultancy,
yeah.
yeah, just to mention, as far as the consultancy services are there, we are already on board, and we have been doing quite a number of projects now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just coming to that actually, the part of consultancy. So if you can just elaborate a little bit as to what kind of consultancies are you looking at? Scientific consultancies, but could you just elaborate a little bit?
So particularly in terms of consultancy, this is again another area where we have seen that in other countries it's a big thing, but here consultancy services, it's not an organized sector, at least till now. So what we did was, there are so much of opportunities where there are people who want to apply for projects, there are people who want a proper reports and statistical analysis, literature search and all that kind of things to be done, but they do not have the expertise. Whereas if we look at the three of us, if you see, we have 3 decades of cumulative experience in various fields. We all are researchers, we all are academicians. So that gives us a upper hand to provide that skill or share that knowledge with the world. So that's where the consultancy idea came across last year. And then we started taking a project. And to our happiness, we are delighted that we started getting projects also, because there were actually people in need. They were searching, looking for people, freelancers here and there, that somebody can actually guide them, because there are people, a lot of people who have the knowledge, but they cannot frame proper reports, who cannot do proper statistical analysis. Maybe they don't have that expertise, or they don't have the tools available. And as academicians, all three of us, what forte we have is that we gradually learn that we all have been in this profession for almost 10 years or more than 10 years now. So we learn those skills in the process, because we guide students, we guide PG and UG students, and we also write literature reviews. So like writing literature review reports or presenting a statistical report, a business report, all that, we never thought that it is a difficult thing, because all that becomes a part of our life. But when we started sharing that knowledge with the world, we saw that there was scarcity. There were people who really needed our help or consultancy, I would say. And that's where we jumped into the consultancy, and then, as Dr. Tanvira mentioned, that we started getting a lot of projects. So that is what we are now also working on, that we also offer consultancy. And it's basically not just scientific consultancy. Yes, we have done a lot of scientific projects, we have done technical projects, and not just that, we have also done basic I think Tanvira can add. I just don't remember all the projects. Tanvira, maybe you can just take over from here.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, apart from all of that, the another dirt that we've noticed, when you have to apply for, say, bank loans, or even a number of these tendering, government tenders and all of that, requires what is known as the detailed project report. Now, people have the information, but they don't know how to write it into this project report. Okay, so obviously, as an entity, they have all that information, but writing it properly in order to for it to get accepted is another ball game. So that is where again we have stepped in a number of times and helped people who needed help in this regard also, be it for DPRs or for tendering and bank loans, and even any kind of seed funding you want, you need to apply. These reports are important, detailed project reports as they are called. So yeah, so that is another domain where we have worked on.
Right. So my last and final question, and I would like to hear from all the three of you. One is the opportunities that you see specifically, because we're based in the region and we want this for the people of the region. So opportunities that you see, that is one. And tips to stay in the region and still do relevant work that benefits yourselves and also benefits the region at large. So I'd like to hear from all the three of you.
Okay, to start with, I will touch upon the academy part, because we have spoken a lot about our Christiandric and also about consultancy. But even from the academy part where we are offering personality development courses, as Dr. Tanvira mentioned in the beginning, that we are offering 2 courses, effective behavioral skills and public speaking.
Yeah.
So if we look at the region, and since we all are from here, so what we have seen as teachers or as a student ourselves at some point of time in our life, that people of this region, we have knowledge, we are good at whatever we are doing, but somewhere down the line, because of maybe to a certain extent lack of exposure, or sometimes that's not just a problem here in this region but even outside also, that youth, they find it difficult to organize and present their content with clarity and confidence. And if you look at this 21st century, and if I have to say that there is a skill that each and everyone must know, that is public speaking, one thing. And the other thing is you must know how do you present yourself in an organization, whether you are working for an organization or you are leading an organization. Irrespective of what you are doing, you must have a particular set of behavioral skills and public speaking skills, because unless you can express yourself, whether you're pitching for a fund to a funding agency, you are appearing for an interview. So the first thing that when a student comes out from the college and faces the real world, that is the first skill that is required. And so we can say that we three are on a mission to actually take out or remove, we will just say eliminate, rather eliminate the fear of speaking and presenting oneself from the youth, to an extent that speaking or expressing the content is not a barrier at all. What they must focus is on the knowledge, talent, and then I think from there it will be a never looking back kind of situation, because that nervousness or whatever kind of thing, nothing should hold them back from presenting the knowledge. Otherwise, I do see a lot and lot of potential here in Assam, in Northeast. Very talented individuals are there. Youths are extremely talented, whether it's about music, it's about the skills. We all are very much skillful, if I see. But the only thing lacking is that somehow we do not present it to the world in a proper way. And that's where we are lacking. And that was the idea behind the launching of this Three Pulse Academy, that we three are on a mission to remove completely this fear of public speaking and behavioral skills from the students. So that is number one mission of the Three Pulse Academy. I think about the other missions they can say, Dr. Tanvira and Mriganko.
Yeah, so okay, so another like what I would also like to mention here, at the beginning itself, Piyashi, you had said about people thinking that there is a dearth of funding. But before we reach to searching the funding part, as Shubhra had mentioned, that a lot goes behind, and that one has to be consistent of putting in that amount of time. You know, today, like you, Piyashi, has given you've given us this platform to speak, and we are so happy because of us winning Octane. But a lot goes behind that journey of winning Octane. Okay, so we have to be consistent, and we have also faced our failures. To be very frank, but one has to come above those failures. You know, when we as we say, failures are stepping stones, we have believed, and we very well know through our experiences that yes, failures are stepping stones. The moment you take those failures and become upset and let those creep into you, that is when your barrier comes in and you cannot move ahead. So getting we would want people to know about our journey and how we have come up in spite of being in the Northeast, as people think that we are not as linked up with the rest of the India. But in spite of all of that, how we come out of that barrier and move forward and achieve what we want to achieve. You know, it is important that people stick on with what their vision is. Yeah.
Yeah, regarding this, I would also add with respect to public speaking and behavioral skill. As you know, that Warren Buffett, who is a popularly known investor, so he has mentioned that if you can improve your communication skill, so your present worth is going to increase by 50%. That means whatever work you have, just by improving your communication skill, it is going to increase by 50%. So now, because of this online platform, so even we are staying in this region, it is going to have a huge opportunities. Okay, of course we are still from the internet perspective, there are some of the issues we are facing, but I am sure it is going to rectify very soon. But so since this online is giving you a huge opportunities, so I believe staying in this region is also going to help you, I mean going to give you a huge opportunity. Now next, coming to the our agricultural product. So nowadays you see a different agricultural products are sent from this region to outside India, that means exported from these regions. If you talk about a special type of banana which we call as Malbhuk kal, so that is a very famous, and it is sent to Dubai and as well as other Gulf countries, and I am sure it is also sent to other parts of the countries as well. So when agriculture has a huge opportunity, moreover, people are looking into organic farming nowadays, and this region has huge opportunities for organic farming. The soils are not explored so much, so that is why we have that huge opportunities. You know that Sikkim is one of the organic states in India. In fact, it is also probably, as I have heard, if I'm not wrong, the only organic state in India.
True.
Yeah, so that is why in Northeast area we have a huge opportunities. There are areas where we have not explored so far, so we have to explore those areas, and bringing technology is going to give a huge boost to the production. And the days won't be far wherein nowadays we know when it is coming to the technology, we look into metropolitan city Bangalore, then it comes to Mumbai, Delhi, and at a later stage it comes to Northeast India. But this is going to change soon. This time agriculture and technology is going to start from Northeast India, and I'm sure about it, and it is going to expand slowly to southeastern countries of the world, and then slowly to the spread to the other countries. And even government of India is also emphasizing in this. So youngsters who are residing this part of region has a huge opportunity in agricultural technology. And moreover, as I was going through some of the articles with respect to the future of agriculture, so next revolution, some of the business tycoons, they have predicted that next future of revolution is going to come in agriculture. So I believe, and I am a strong believer of this, that agriculture is going to bring revolution to the overall world, and Northeast India or Assam is going to play a huge role in this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah, complete.
I think,
And we are actually
yeah.
strategically placed, in fact, because we have borders with a number of countries. So if we look in that way, prospect, we are very strategically and well placed for exports also, in this field.
Completely. We actually have to stop that, or we have to come over that mindset that there are no opportunities in Northeast. We rather have to shift our focus to that. Yes, there are, and this is a message for actually the youngsters that there are huge opportunities lying ahead of you, the youngsters, and if they really want, and as you can take from the talk of Dr. Tanveera or Mriganko, that not only opportunities, but there are also a lot of, all you need is just to be consistent and not get sad by failures, small failures. There are a lot of opportunities, and the youngsters, if they open their eyes and see, it's really going to be a great future here, and Assam will play a very pivotal role in this revolution, whatever is being predicted. So yes, that is the message for the youngsters as well.
Thank you. I think a lot of takeaways in the sense that we are not looking at something that is very, very academic and only stuck up in the research labs and journals where half the people don't understand what is being said in those journals. or we are not looking at only at agriculture where we don't know what is the ABCD of farming. We're looking at a beautiful amalgamation of technology and research put together into something viable that youngsters can take up and then turn it into something better for themselves and for the region. And we're also looking at 3PALS, which has identified some of the sort of barriers or blockades that youngsters face in the region, which sort of then pushes them behind in terms of approaching, whether it is in the domain of sciences or any other domain. Like Shubhra mentioned, we are very, very talented in terms of music and so many other such domains, but there is that gap sometimes. We don't know how to present ourselves. And I think that is the takeaway for all of us. We have everything that we need within the region, and all we need to do is project ourselves. And I think the projection starts right from within. Don't stop. Keep persevering. And I think your story that yes, Octane came in, but how it came in becomes more important. The product will also come into the market, but how and the journey of 3PALS, the three of you staying within the region and launching the academy plus Krishnaantik, I think that is more important for all of us to take away as a motivation. So thank you for joining us, and we hope that more youngsters in this region are motivated to take up these ventures, and I'm sure they will reach out to you also for guidance and expertise. And I think we have three great mentors coming up in this domain for everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
so
so
much.
much, Priya.